There's such a problem of overpopulation of dogs.
It's a problem that we all have, we know that.
There's so many complaints of the overrun of dogs, and who do we go to?
In 2008, a friend and I realized that rescuing the dogs was just not really the solution to this problem. And we decided to take a more proactive approach to it and have these spay and neuter clinics in the communities.
We got a population of 15,000 people. We got over 2,500 houses in these 4 communities. Every house that there is out there probably has 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 dogs. So you start adding up, there's a lot of dogs. There's a lot of pack of dogs. There's packs all over the place, particularly in the town sites. And they'd hang around by the schools. So when the kids got off of the school bus in the morning, they would congregate around the kids, steal their lunches. And then secondly was the increased number of dog bites that there was from all these dogs.
It's a big, big problem, and people feel threatened by the dogs. Some of the kids walk to school with hockey sticks or golf clubs, and they just don't feel safe.
We really wanted to address the free-roaming dogs. So when we do see packs of dogs, we'll try to identify an owner, and if there's not a clear owner around, then we'll talk to community members until we can find out who's feeding the dog. At which point, if the dog is really social, we could usually just get them into a kennel. If they're not social, then we'll use humane traps. And so we'll trap them and get them down to the clinic.
The Alberta Spay and Neuter Task Force told me about these clinics that they do on First Nations. They asked me if we're interested, that they'll come on site, they'll do the surgeries, the nation will pay a certain amount of the cost, and we got the okay from the chief to have a spay and neuter clinic.
So on Saturday, we'll have a lineup of people with cats and carriers, cats in boxes, their trucks full of dogs. So they'll come in and we have teams of volunteers that go over all the paperwork, just explain the whole process, because it is quite a bit of what we're doing, so that everyone feels comfortable and they know exactly what's going to happen to their dog or cat. And then we get them right into the prepping area.
Okay, and what's your dog's name?
My role is to make sure everything runs smoothly here with regard to the actual surgeries themselves. There's an overseeing role in terms of vaccinations, giving the correct medications. The team is actually made up of the animal health technician, some students, they may be veterinary students or animal technician students, and also veterinarians. They donate all their time.
The volunteers that we have are so passionate. They're working long hours. It's very draining both physically and emotionally at times, but it's extremely rewarding. So the volunteers that come out here, we see ourselves as a family.
My name is Carl Northwest, and this handsome boy, his name is Bear. He had a hard life. He had a hard life, and he was just a puppy. My neighbors abandoned him, and he was just like, he was starving. And this dog was blind. He was blind. He couldn't see a thing. I didn't know my girlfriend on the way home one day. He followed her home, and it was a godsend because the clinic was only that weekend, and he came to us on a Thursday evening. You could say he's like my son.
Like I remember when he got that dog had so many scars on him, and now when I look at him now, I'm like, that don't even look like the same dog no more. All the scars kind of healed up, so they look pretty good now. He looks really nice, that dog now.
From the animal's point of view, coming to this clinic is going to be a bit of a shock. They're brought in by their owners or sometimes by our volunteers. There are lots of different smells, lots of different sounds, barking, cats meowing, lots of people handling them. And so they're in shock, they're anxious, Some of them are very scared. Some of them are just very excitable. So we try to do our best to make sure they're soothed, they're comfortable. We isolate them as much as possible. So we keep the cats away from the dogs so that there's no mingling there and hurt feelings.
Once the dog has a pre-anesthetic check, the dog is put in a line and sedated. And then the dog is prepped for surgery. Goes into surgery, and from surgery moves into recovery.
When they wake up, we give them post-operative painkillers. Then there's that sort of feeling of, well, what happened? You know, there's an area that feels a little bit painful, but most of these animals are awake enough that they can go home at the end of the day.
In a clinic, we get upwards of 200 animals surrendered, and we work with, on average, 15 to 20 rescue groups who will help put the animals in their foster program or in their shelter program.
We have a huge variety of animals that get surrendered, everything from newborn pups to senior animals. We see a lot of injured animals, animals with mange, a lot of animals that get hit by cars.
Most owners, I think, look after them. We send them home with an instruction sheet. They know what to look for. If there's some problem with the incision, if there's some swelling, they call one of the volunteers, and then we make sure that they are tended to and they have it checked over by a veterinarian.
I'm very thankful, and Six Guys is very thankful for having so many volunteers to help us try to control the dog problem that we have.
What's great about doing Roundup and going into the community is you get to see a lot of the dogs and the cats that we've spayed or neutered the year before, 2 years before, 3 years before. So it's really encouraging to see, often these puppies turn into nice, beautiful adult dogs, and just seeing the guardians so thrilled to have their dog, how well cared for they now become, and there's a sense of pride with that animal. And overall, the community members are very supportive.
It's a good life for the dogs when they get spaded and neutered. They seem to be happy, and I'm sure the owners are happy too.
I keep doing it because it's fun. It's a great social scene too, so I meet a lot of old friends. But most of all, I feel very strongly that I'm helping out both the people and their pets.
It's good for the community. It makes our place safer from dogs.
The favorite part of the clinics is to see the human-animal bond and how important these animals are to these people.
This is the end result of what taking care and loving an animal will do. This dog will do anything for you.
What makes it a success is us being able to go out there, get these strays, and then where the Alberta Spay-neuter Task Force comes in, all their volunteers having their rescue homes, non-kill rescue homes, willing to take in these animals. The people bringing in their animals or letting us pick up their dogs. To me, that's a success.